What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Press X Podcast, episode 98, your weekly podcast for gaming news and opinions come at you each and every Monday at noon Eastern. I am Kevin McManus. With me, Nick Hassell.
Hey, I found my way back.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. And speaking of being a couple weeks, Todd Broussard's back.
Hey, I also found my way back.
Couple months later. So not a lot of news this week. I feel like this episode's just going to be a lot of talking about things that we've been playing. And then we're going to do... I didn't bring the N64 stuff. Damn it. We're going to be doing an N64 list for what we would want out of an N64 classic, what we think we'll get, at least.
I'm sure it'll magically appear later in the episode or something like that.
I'm not going to go get them. I don't care. I put them together, and they might be right over there, but I'm not going to get them. You could pretend that they're there. So with that said, you haven't been here for a while.
Yeah.
I've talked to you. You haven't played very much recently, but that's okay. Let's start with what we've been playing, and I'm going to start out.
Okay.
Because I have two of the most Kevin things ever, and then two of the least Kevin things ever, and I want to talk about them. First off, Mario Odyssey. 100%ed it. Took me 60 hours. Spent a long time in that world. Had a lot of fun. Towards the end, when I needed like 50 to 60 moons, I started kind of doing a combination of looking up some moons, or you can pay 50 coins in the game, and they'll mark on your map where one is. They don't tell you how to get it, but they're like, there's something here that you need to look around and figure it out. So that actually became kind of a fun hunt because I didn't need to save my money for stuff anymore. So I was just like wasting it on that. And I'm like, oh, this makes it more like a scavenger hunt. And that's really cool. So yeah, I 100% of that. I did all the moons. I did the max number of moons, which is actually a separate thing, which is interesting. And then there's a couple bonus things you unlock if you do that. And I went and did those. A lot of fun. Love that game. What a blast. Best Mario game since 64? Best Mario game since 64. I agree, Todd.
That's a bold statement.
It is a bold statement. As somebody who wasn't huge on Galaxy, I like Galaxy. I think it's better than Galaxy, though. Enjoyed Galaxy. Think this is better. And didn't like 3D World. And I think people are crazy that are like all about 3D World.
Yeah.
And then Mario Maker, I don't really count. Mario Maker's weird. It's sort of a weird, unfair comparison, so... Loved Odyssey. I don't need to spend any more time on it. Next up, been playing Battleborn again. So this was something that a couple of weeks ago, there was a news story that they were like done doing updates and stuff for it. They were just going to keep the game going. No more characters, no more patches, balancing patches. Like the game was done. So I was like, I better play this game before it dies because I enjoyed it. And I went on. Community's still there. Takes a few minutes to get into a game. You're locked, you're in. You stay with your party after the game's over. You play more games. Played it for multiple hours. Game's still fun. Got to check out a new character. They have, I guess they like rewarded people who have been playing forever, so they just let me basically get all the characters that
That's
cool. When I logged in, they were like, hey, you can buy up to these amount of characters, or you can buy skins for ones that you already have. And I'm like, I'll do neither because I'm indecisive, and I'll figure it out later. But I've been playing with a new character in that, but the community is still there, at least on PlayStation 4. To play that game, and it is free to play the multiplayer, and I think that's part of the reason. So I've been asking some people, I'm like, hey, we need a team for Battleborn. Maybe you should get it on PlayStation 4 and download that and play it. Next up, I've been playing KOTOR. So this is an interesting one.
Best game ever.
I do want to make a huge announcement. My computer's fixed. My power supply came in.
Yay.
Kellen came over, hooked it up.
Nice.
It didn't work. I opened it up and saw that there was something not plugged in. I think it was the coolant, but I don't know. I plugged it in. Computer works.
Do you feel smarter now?
A little bit. A little bit. I plugged it in and then I texted him. I'm like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I just did. You tell me if my computer's in trouble after doing that.
I probably mentioned it to you earlier in the year when Andromeda was coming out. That's when I was building like my God Machine PC, like updating all the stuff that's years old at that point. And he helped me that initial week. And then when I finally got it working properly, like it wasn't even like I really had to like text or call him or anything. It was just like, I know this now. So it's one of those things, once you build it once or twice, then you're just like, I'm good.
Yeah, I just opened it up and I was like, something's wrong because I used this computer before and now there should be no difference.
Yeah.
And it is not working. Like the CPU thing was spiking to 100 every time I opened something. I was like, this probably isn't good. And it wasn't able to like go on YouTube. Like YouTube would basically crash it. I'm like, what is going on? So anyway, I opened it up, plugged some more stuff in, and it worked fine. So that's awesome. So I can edit these videos and I can start doing more videos with like pictures and stuff again because I haven't been doing stuff like that because I've been editing on the laptop. Anyway, reason I brought that up is I wanted to play KOTOR on my computer, but it was doing that stuff before I fixed it. So I just put it into the Xbox One because it's backwards compatible now. And man, I like playing it with a controller so much better.
Yeah,
I was like,
great.
oh, this works. I'm still in the first like planet or Tarlin. I don't remember what it's called.
Terrace.
Yeah, I'm still there and walking around and like got the Sith armor and stuck past things, doing all that stuff. But I'm enjoying it. I don't actually have much of a complaint about it. And I think that my complaints when I played it the first time, it was all like combat based.
Yeah.
I think I just didn't understand that it's actually kind of like a turn-based combat system.
Yeah.
And
you can
little Kevin didn't understand that.
You can make some changes too to kind of adjust it, and I'm sure PC's got tons of mods out there too. Whereas if like you can just skip, but yeah, I mean you can set it to where it's just actual turn-based. Like, hey, there's an enemy, game pauses, and then you select some actions, and then on you go.
Yeah, I don't think I understood that. It's actually very similar to RuneScape's combat, to be honest. It plays a lot like it.
Yeah, it's a little like that.
So I've been playing through that a little bit, and then the big one came in that I was waiting for, which is Skyrim VR. I specifically wanted to finish Mario because I figured Skyrim would be the rest of my, I'm going to play Doom and some things I need to catch up on, but Skyrim's my big game for the next month or so.
It can definitely take up a month.
Yeah. And it's fun. I'm not like, ooh, the story's so good. I'm not like, wow, obviously I missed the boat. The visuals are bleh, they look like a 360 game. But like when you're in the world, that doesn't matter because you're looking around, everything's consistent. As long as it's consistent, it doesn't matter that much. The only thing that's a little bit of, I would say, an issue is characters blend into the environment a lot in that game. And if you want to make a VR game, it helps to not have that happen.
Yeah.
But like people wear a lot of brown, and there's a lot of like brown in the environment, things like
I
that.
gotcha.
So once in a while, like somebody shot me with an arrow, and I'm like, where did I get shot from? I'm looking around, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I played with motion controls. I loaded it up. They have 3 different ways to play. Motion controls with teleporting, which is kind of the default. So I started with that just to check it out, and I ran into this problem where there's a lot of buttons that do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like X does like 5 things, and square does like 5 things. There's too much, especially when you're using the 2 motion controls because you have like less buttons to work with, and it gets very confusing. So what happened was the guy's like, oh, equipped your armor in the very beginning. And I was like, okay, X. And X is drop the armor.
Yeah.
And equip the armor is like the PlayStation Move button on the controller. So I dropped it, and I was like, damn it. So then I kept trying to pick it up, like by putting my hand down to pick it up, and he kept sitting in the chair that the armor was next to. I'm like, I can't do this. So I shut off the teleporting because that was part of the problem. I couldn't like align myself with the stupid armor. I shut off the teleporting and did the full movement with motion controls. And the way that works is you hold whatever your main hand is. You aim like that direction, and you hold the face button, that big move button, and they walk in that direction. And if you want to go backwards, you just aim it backwards or left or right, and that's how they move around. And then the advantage of motion controls is with the bow and arrow, you actually shoot the bow and arrow. You fight, and the controllers vibrate when you hit things, so you get an idea. Blocking stuff is actually really fun with the motion controls. But I kept running into problems where I wanted to pick... It's the interacting with other stuff. Picking things up. It makes the combat fun, but it makes everything else harder. Like, picking things up was such an issue, and there were so many buttons, and you can't, like... With the controller, I know the controller buttons, because I've used it forever.
Well, especially when it's
I don't know the move controller buttons
there's
by
a
heart.
table in front of you, and you want to pick up the one thing, but there's like
that happened once, yeah.
bread, books, and like
Yeah,
other
I have
stuff
my
here.
couch arm, and I was like, damn it. I just can't reach this. So anyway... I did the opening thing with those 2, and then I switched to the controller to see what that's like.
Yeah.
It's just Skyrim with a controller in VR.
Yeah.
A million times better. The only difference is you, like Resident Evil, you aim with your eyes, which makes archery way more fun.
Yeah.
Because you can move and aim in different spots, which is cool. So really enjoyed that. Doing archery and magic. I guess I'm an Imperial. I was trying to figure it out. I don't remember. But I think I get like a negative bonus if I use melee, so I don't use melee. But I'm enjoying the fire and stuff. Feels awesome in VR. That's really fun to do. This game has too many spiders. I don't understand why people have spiders in VR games. The opening things you fight is a spider. And I went down the cave. I saw the webs everywhere. You have a partner. I walked in, let him walk in, and I walked out, and I just watched him kill them all.
Yeah.
And then I continued. And then there was another section in the first like temple or whatever they're called that has a big spider. And I was like, oh my God. I knew it was coming because there was webs. So I walked in the room and saw it like fall from the ceiling. And I just walked out of the room and switched to my bow and shot it through a little hole in the wall until it died. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I moved on.
If you get your sneaking up, there's like basically that's the weapon of the game because Oblivion's bow and arrow sucked. So they just like revamped it and made it amazing in Skyrim.
Gotcha.
But if you get sneak, you get it 4 times on your archery. So if you're crouching and just shoot the guy, it's just like critical.
Oh, that's cool. I like the sneaking. The sneaking's fun, especially in VR, because it's a little more tense. And so is being chased. Anytime you're being chased in VR,
does it feel like you're actually
way
like waist level or like low to the ground when you're sneaking?
Yeah, you're lower. It's a little bit weird because your camera's just down lower than it was, and you don't see like any sort of animation to show that you're sneaking. You just see that eyeball that opens and closes or says hidden or whatever it does. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. The story, whatever. There's a couple interesting side things. I like all the voice acting. I like how everybody has a voice. Same thing with KOTOR that I enjoyed. I like that everybody has a voice and you can just walk up to somebody and they're like, hey, this person's being a jerk. Do something about it. I'm like, if I find them.
That's what I was telling you. Like the game's honestly like 6 hours long, but it's meant to be like, okay, I'll go do this one thing, and then you get sidetracked to a cave, and a dragon swoops down, and then this bear attacks, and it's like, what was I doing?
Yeah, my first thing I did, they're like, hey, go to whatever city it is, and I'm like, okay, and I got to the sign that shows you where you're going, and I looked at the sign, and apparently there's 2 cities that start with W, because I just went to the one that had a W, and I went there, and it took me like 20 minutes to get there, and then I got there, and I walked the whole city, and I'm like, I don't see where this guy is at all. And then I looked at the map, like the map is zoomed out, and you can hover around it, and it's in 3D. It's really cool. And I was like, oh, I'm completely in the wrong place. And there was a guy with a horse and a buggy. I'm like, here's 20 gold. Please just bring me there. And he did it. What a nice gentleman. My biggest, and I don't want to say issue because it's not an issue. Like I said, once I've been playing with the controller, I don't have many complaints about the game. It just feels like a regular game, minus the fact that I remapped almost every button because I think that the controls...
it lets you.
Yeah, it lets you remap anything. All right, Todd.
I got a fucking pole straddling my dick over here. This is awful.
The default controls, I don't know if they are the same as they were in the original Skyrim, but they're bad and they feel really dated. And Skyrim's like, whatever, 8 years old or something. So it makes sense that they aren't correct. So I went through, I made crouching for me R3. I made running L3. Like I more modernized some things. With that said, I made a weird choice that I never thought about in VR, and it's affecting my gameplay, and I almost restarted. I made my character a girl because I always play as a girl character. But this game is in VR, which means you can't pretend that you're playing as somebody else. Like you are the character.
Yeah.
So I walk into cities and guys are hitting on me.
Yeah.
Girls are like, "Oh, gorgeous! Don't talk to my husband." And when I walk by things, they're like, "Man, she's doing this," and I'm like, "This is weird. Yeah. I don't really like this." So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna back out of it, but. If I were to, I considered starting again and making an elf after I figured out how fun the archery is, and making it a male elf because it's really weird. It's very strange to play as a girl.
So now you can empathize.
It's very, very strange. Is there smooching in this game? Can you smooch?
You can get a companion.
Because I've been trying.
Romantic companion.
I've been trying, and I'm like, another reason maybe I shouldn't have picked a girl. I don't know if I can get a girly.
It's no BioWare sort of game, but yeah, I mean, you can get a faithful companion.
Do you know if you can get a girl if you're a girl?
I don't even remember.
I might have to look that up because if you can, I'm just gonna.
It's been 6 years.
I'm just gonna restart this game because you can't change your character once you start. I don't think.
Correct.
So I'm just gonna restart. Also, everybody keeps telling me I look sick, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if that has to do with the race I picked or whatever. But I walk in and everybody's like, "You look sickly." I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Might have a disease or something.
Did I not sleep? I
don't know.
I did the rest because you can rest in the game. I did the rest. I was like, maybe I'm tired. I don't know. So I rested for 8 hours, and I was like, hey. And she's like, you look sickly.
I mean, to be fair, whatever race you pick, people have comments.
Yeah, I noticed that. There was a town that didn't like dark elves. And she's like, do you not like me either? And I'm like, kind of creepy looking. But anyway, so yeah, Skyrim VR, having a blast. Might reload it as a dude because it's weird, but I'm enjoying exploring the world. And it's interesting because mostly in VR, when you spend 3 hours in VR, you feel like the game's starting to wind down. That's typically what happens because the games aren't very long in VR. It's so weird to be 6 hours into this game and be like, "Woo, a sword that hits a 14." Like it's so strange to feel like I'm just at the very beginning and I've spent so much time in VR. So that's really cool and nice to see. Movement options, they give you everything you can do. The full motion, the teleporting. You can have like a field of view thing scope in when you're running so that you don't get sick, or you can shut it off. I just shut mine off. You can do turn clicks, or you can just shut it off and do regular turning. So my game, the controls are exactly as they would be in the normal game. I turned off all the safety things except for when I jump, it puts a little, like I think I have it at 1. It's like a 1 to 10 scale. I think I have it at 1. It puts a little cone when I jump. I thought it looked cool, to be honest. But yeah,
can you still do third person in that game?
No, third person is locked out. I would be playing in third person probably because of the girl situation. But yeah, you cannot do that. That is.
Well, it's better for like Sword and Shield and stuff too, so you can.
Right. No, they said that they designed the game in first person because VR. But yeah, doing the dungeon stuff, it's fun. The puzzles were cool. I was saying I found a claw that had some stuff written on it, and you had to like actually look at it and like get kind of close to it. When you pick up books, like all the lore, they're actual books with pages, and you have to flip through the pages and like you actually read the book. A bunch of cool stuff like that. There's a lot of books in the game. I read like the first 2, and then I went into a room that had like dozens. And I was like, oh. And I just dropped the books I had. I was like, I thought books were like a rare thing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot.
It'll pop up what you need.
I definitely, I think if you have VR, this is an easy must-have.
Yeah, I need
to buy
easy. It, probably.
Yeah. But they've redone some menus. Like I talked about the map. The skill tree, the constellation thing, I don't know what they're... See, I haven't played the original one, so it's a little weird for me. But I know that the constellation thing is all in 3D, and it like shifts around you in the sky now. Cool. And they've just redone the stuff for VR, and they've done a really, really good job. Minus the... I think it has a opening, because you don't do a lot of moving. You're like sitting in a car, and then you're
that's the typical Elder Scrolls
start. The opening, especially in VR, kind of sucks, because the game's not very pretty. So there's not a lot to look at. Yeah. So like that kind of sucks when you're like talking to somebody in a conversation and they're giving their speech and you're just like looking around because you want something to engage you in VR, to look at in VR. So
yeah, every Elder Scrolls game you start on a prison, so that's why you're.
But yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll give an update next week, and I do want to say next week we're going to be doing a prediction episode. Lots of predictions.
Oh, yeah,
Game Awards predictions. I want to go through them and see who we think is going to win. And PSX, we're going to do the predictions early for that because episode 100 will be after that. And obviously, we're going to be doing different stuff for that. So that's it for me. Just a couple things.
Todd, you want to jump in?
Sure. So I've been playing a bunch of Destiny 2. I played a little bit of the first one. I played probably like the first 2 weeks of it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this one like substantially better.
Well, that's the common opinion.
Just a lot of things like playing through the campaign. It's not like the most original story, but the cutscenes are like really nice, and it always felt like I was like doing something in the campaign, not just like random stuff. So that was really nice. And then like after you finish the campaign, it really like left it open for more of a story to happen, which is kind of cool as well.
Yeah, is that cool though? Or would you have preferred it felt like a finished story? Because I know like how it ends, and it feels like they're trying to sell you the expansion a little bit. They're like, here's something new.
I mean, they come out
and it's going to be in the expansion.
Yeah, well, part of the new was already in the game. Like the first raid you can do without the expansion.
Well, yeah,
which is kind of cool. But I mean, they are trying to sell you the expansions, which is,
I'll say.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, but I mean, everything's a blast in it. The game looks beautiful on the PC. Like, it's gorgeous. So, been playing that. It's been really fun. Only complaint is there's, like, a lot of stuff that requires you to have, like, 3 other people to play with. Mm-hmm. And, that's not always the most accessible thing.
Yeah, I wish it was more like, even like Fortnite or something, when you hop into a game, they're just like, here's some guys. Like, you're probably not going to be able to do it. You're probably not going to win. But at least you can practice and learn.
To be fair, they started implementing a guided game, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
But basically, if you're in a clan, well, you have 2 options. If you're in a clan, you can host a match. So if you have 2 out of the 3 slots, are you and a clan member, and you just need a third, it'll matchmake it for you, and it'll take it 2 minutes.
Yeah, we
or
did
a
some,
minute or 2 minutes.
we did some of those on the Nightfalls and stuff.
But if you are just a single player, and I don't think it relates to clan at all, but if you are by yourself, as long as you have to take like an oath, like basically hit accept or decline, and it's all it says is just like, I'll play by the rules, I'll help, I won't like troll, and I can communicate voice or text chat. If you do that, then it'll put you in a matchmaking that takes a little bit longer if you're just searching by yourself, but it'll plug you into those people looking for a third.
Interesting.
But
something like
it
that.
doesn't do it in like the two things you need people for, which are raids and like the competitive PvP.
Raids, it won't randomly match you up just
Trials
because
of the Nine or whatever.
you need so much communication with those and coordination.
I heard it's got a really bad opening for people who don't play shooters. You actually hooked one of my friends up with the game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Doesn't play shooters. Never play shooters.
Yeah.
First-person shooters, like literally, I think he can count the number on his hand that
Yeah.
one hand that he's played. He was stuck in the opening area because they didn't like explain what you're like. They assume that you played Destiny 1, I guess.
Yeah.
And they didn't like.
It is literally the game. Like you go into the game and like get control of your character, and a door gets kicked down, and you're getting shot at.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I
it's actually
haven't-
really cool. Like,
I haven't seen
tutorial.
it, but yeah, he was like, I was just stuck because I don't even know how to like aim, and they're doing stuff already. I was like, I don't know.
So the night I bought it, I played with like 5 friends, and one of my friend's wives had gotten it with him, and she had like hardly played video games and tried to play it, and it took her like 3 hours to get through the tutorial.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's actually
I didn't even
problem.
think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I'm sure a lot of them didn't think of. They were all just used to Destiny, and I'm sure all the people that like tested it played Destiny.
But I mean, besides like not being able to do like 1 or 2 things, I've had a blast doing everything else.
Yeah, usually these games kind of have like a have you played these games before? Yes, and then you can skip the sort of basics.
The
Very
controls.
So I've been playing that. Been playing a bunch of Overwatch recently, which is fun. It's still a really cool game.
Overwatch in the movie theaters. It's got a trailer before Justice League.
Huh.
Yep.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just because it's like a free to play weekend or something, and they have a whole trailer for it. I'm
It's
like,
pretty
"Jeez."
insane. That game makes so much money.
It has to if they're putting
it's
trailers in the movie
ridiculous.
theater to announce that the game has a free to play 2
Been
days.
playing some. I just started this today. Some old school RuneScape.
My man.
Yeah, that's like one of the only games that I like keep coming back to. Like every like 2 years, I'll like try to play it again. And I didn't realize that game came out in 1999.
What, the original?
Yeah, the
like,
original.
RuneScape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play the original one. I
It's
played
insane.
RuneScape 2, which is kind of the modern. Well,
Yeah.
it's not modern now. Like the 07 Scape was all RuneScape 2, and then they did RuneScape 3, which is the new one that no one likes.
I made my first account in 2003.
Yeah, I don't know when mine was.
Wow.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
But it's really cool like playing again because there's a lot of like new stuff, but it's
Yeah,
still
they
pretty
added a
old
lot of
school.
new stuff, but you're playing 07, right?
Mhm.
They added a lot of new stuff, but everything is held to a vote. They
Yeah,
won't add
I saw
anything
that.
into the game unless 75% of the player base votes yes to it.
It seems really sweet.
And everything that they add feels in line with the original vision of the game. They're not like going crazy and adding all these like raid things that like the new one has. They're like, okay,
I mean, they
there's-
did add the raids.
there's raids in 07?
Yeah.
I don't know that. I didn't see many of the group activity. But anyway, I know there's like the God War stuff, but they have like, all right, there's dragon's like a type of metal. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, there's dragon square shields and there's dragon this and that, but every other metal has this type of sword and dragon doesn't have it. Do you want us to add the dragon version of that sword? And then people vote yes or no, and then they're like, okay, is it going to be through a quest or do you want it through like a monster drop? And they kind of go through and do voting, and I like that it seems like they're trying to keep it
They're trying to keep the player base happy, which is really cool.
they're trying to keep it kind of in the spirit of 07. And I thought it was really cool because my favorite armor in the game is Infinity, which is like this rainbow road.
Yeah.
And my favorite 2 color schemes for armors are black and purple and gold and white. And you can buy die kits for Infinity and turn it either black and purple or gold and white. And I was like, this
cool.
armor just got way better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been enjoying my time in that game.
I've had a blast.
Excited for it to come to mobile
Oh yeah.
in January because it got delayed. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's a
see.
bummer. But I think it'll be a really sweet mobile game.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'll do really well on the mobile. And I've been playing Path of Exile, which
Ooh.
is
At first, I thought you were gonna say Catherine. I heard Kath, and I was like,
no,
"What?"
But I've had a freaking blast with that game. It's
That
been
game's
out,
sweet.
It's been out for a while, but
Yeah.
I just started playing it in the newest season that's out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really cool. It's just like kind of. I mean, it's a dungeon crawler, but a lot of people compare it to like Diablo 3, but it's very different. The skill system is insane. It's the biggest skill tree I've ever seen in a game. Like there's like 1,000.
I don't know
different,
much about it.
There's like
Another name.
any character can basically do anything, like any class.
Mm-hmm.
But you just start out in a different place in the tree, and you can go wherever.
Oh, it's like Final Fantasy X.
But
It's like the sphere grid.
10 times bigger.
It's like the sphere. I'm sure
it's
it's a
insane.
PS2 game.
And it's really cool. Like the skill system's cool. So you pick skills, but the actual like if you're shooting a fireball, you can like make it do 6 different things. It's really crazy. Like every skill like has this like chain of skills.
Is it too much?
It's too much. It's very overwhelming when you start out.
Because that's what I played Battleborn.
Yeah.
Because you can still play that split screen.
Right.
And I was playing that with my friend, and I was like explaining it to him while we
Yeah.
were playing.
Right.
And like 5 minutes into my explaining, I'm like, "Are you like following at
Yeah.
all?" I'm like, because I'm like, okay, we need a Miku on the team so that we can get healed because we need a healer. And I'm like a support guy that makes your attack go stronger. And I was like, we need a tank, and then we need to do this. And now we're trying to move these minions, and you can build these accelerators to make them walk faster so that we can get into their base. And I'm like going through all this stuff, and he's just like, "We're just gonna attack things with these fans." I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, so I tried to play with my brother-in-law, and I was trying to explain this, like, the skill tree to him and, like, this skill system, and he's like, dude, I don't understand this. I'm just going to play Diablo 3 again. And I was like, all right, man, have fun. But that's about all I've been playing.
Nick, how about you in your 3 weeks not being on the show?
Hiatus. I guess I'll start off with Fire Emblem Warriors. I beat that finally a couple weeks back.
Still want to play that game.
I think the characters, and this is coming from someone who's played like a decade or more of Fire Emblem games, I think the characters work really well together, and I had a lot of fun. Sort of almost along the same lines as like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance thing. Like I had fun chaining combos and doing sort of thing, like combinations with characters that, this character's from this one game and I've had it from this one, so I've never had them. Like you can pair them up, basically. So what I do is I take you choose 6 people and you can control 3. I put the NPCs with the 3 people I can control. So it's like taking, I guess, since you've played Smash, a few of these people like Robin and pairing it up with like a Lucina sort of thing. So you get like a lot of zapping and then a lot of stabbing sort of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to play that game since I liked Hyrule Warriors so much.
Yeah.
And apparently this
game
one's
is a
better.
blast.
I think the story was actually really good. I don't know many people who go into Dynasty games, I guess, looking for a good story, but it was at least on par with all the other Fire Emblem stories. And, you have most of the classics as far as characters go right there, so it's hard not to do at least average compared to the other games. And I thought it's still the best, like, blend of Fire Emblem and Dynasty, or, like, third-party game in Dynasty. Like, most games, it feels like, oh, okay, this is like Dynasty with, like, a new skin. This one was like it met almost right in the middle, 50-50. Like you get leveling up and you get like the uniqueness of choosing a class and sort of like your gameplay for each character, but you also get just bread and butter Dynasty Warriors stuff.
Right.
So that was cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I wish Lana somehow, since they're both Nintendo franchises, I think it would have been cool if it actually linked with Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Because Lana was the character that they invented for that story. And I think it actually would have been cool if it was a sequel in some way. Not like super heavy, but it had like sequel elements to it because she was a cool character. Maybe in DLC. I don't know.
I kind of wish, too, for DLC that they would have brought some of the Tokyo Mirage people in.
That'd be awesome.
That would have been sweet. But there's still time. I think there's technically expansions coming out.
Yeah, I think they announced what
character expansions.
games they're from.
Yeah.
I don't know their names, but I
Yeah, I think you can see in the storefront which game that they're coming
I think
from.
they
So,
announced it already.
I guess to also piggyback on the Destiny 2 thing, for me, I think that's been the biggest surprise or biggest positive surprise of 2017 was Destiny 2. Yeah. There's been some really big disappointments so far. It's been my most positive surprise because as far as like going out of E3 and looking at like the fall and winter forecast of games, like I was just like, maybe, I don't know. It doesn't really look different from one. And then it was that beta for the PC where I was like, oh, like this game like looks and feels really good. So I jumped on it. Playing this game makes me like retroactively hate the first game more because it's not on PC. And like I was just like, it just feels like it's catered towards PC.
With the mouse being
That's
a
one thing I
cursor.
didn't talk about. Like the whole interface feels really, really smooth on the PC.
Yeah.
It's
And
nice.
I don't know how I played it with a controller because it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I even tried to, I used my Xbox One Elite controller
I tried that
for
too.
my console, like if it's just like a game or like a racing game or just something where I can't use a mouse and keyboard. And I was just like, nah, this doesn't feel right. Give me the mouse and keyboard again. So I don't know why they even bother putting on consoles other than to make large sums of money.
I was going to say, because that's where their players are.
But it feels great. And I think it did a much better job. I think Todd sort of said it too. Like, it gives you a lot more to do in this game, a lot more variety. Even though you are kind of gated if you don't have like that constant sort of group of like 3 or 4 people kind of tagging along with you, it can make even the campaign harder. Technically, but it can make the Nightfalls harder, it can make the raids harder, it can make Crucible harder. There was a mode that was up for the last week, I think, the trials that were up.
It's up every weekend.
It is sweet.
It's Friday through Monday.
You literally can't play that unless you have a group of 4, sort of thing.
The Splatoon model, as I
Yeah.
like to call it.
It is. It's up 24/7.
No, yeah, Splatoon is only
Yeah.
12 hours randomly throughout the day. I don't know why.
But yeah, it's one of those like there's like casual multiplayer, competitive multiplayer, and then like super competitive, which you need the 4 people for, but much better rewards. But anyways, the campaign, like I actually almost care about the story, whereas in the first game I was just like, screw this, I just want to beat it and get done with it.
I can't tell. There was like a queen bee or something in the first one. I don't know. She was blue.
I heard the expansions for the first one like really made a
Yeah,
story
and
for
you
it
can-
though.
The
Like,
Taken King stuff.
That's what I've
I didn't
understood
play
from watching people play and like listening to people who like went through all of those and
Yeah.
are now playing too. It's just like they've gradually gone up in quality. So me being down here and only playing the base game of 1 and now a base game of 2, and I'll probably get the expansion. I don't know when it's coming out for PC, if it's
Right.
same
delayed
day
or
or what. So that might make a difference. But yeah, I'll definitely play the expansion because a game that I'm sure we'll talk about, EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. As soon as that made its news,
debacle.
that's when I went from, okay, I've got my 1 character finished and I'm just going to do post-game stuff here. I went ahead and beat the campaign 2 more times and
With
got
the
all
other
3
characters.
classes.
Yeah.
So now, sort of in like a Todd situation, if you don't have the right people online at the right time sort of thing, you can kind of get soft-locked out of doing like the raid and Nightfalls and the big rewarding sort of playlists. I just went ahead and made... Okay, so apparently PC is at the same time as console, so I will be getting it. But if you don't have those sorts of people on, I wanted 2 backups where I can do post-game stuff and just do it over and over and over. So literally I can't...
Oh, yeah, I forgot it's per character, not
Yeah.
per account.
So I don't have enough time in the week, even if I just played this every single night, to get everything done. So that's good and bad, I guess, because I can't get all the rewards on all the characters. But
that is one thing that's been really cool. The weekly resets.
Yeah.
There's it's like 10 things you get to do throughout the week, and you can do them basically all by yourself. It's
and
really
in the
fun.
first game too, like you would have to go up to like a vendor, and he would give you 3 things at a time.
Mhm.
Like, hey, do these 3 things and get a reward. You'd finish one,
you
and then
like
you'd be
turn
like,
them in.
I don't want to go turn it in. I can just turn all 3 in at the same time, and then like you had to exchange 1 for 1. Whereas this one is just like, here's 10 things. Do it at your own pace.
and you can
and a
turn
lot
So
of
like
things-
every other
Determine
video.
when-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's their problem because they're trapped in this weird space where they're not an MMO,
yeah.
but they're not a straight shooter.
This one feels very
Like,
MMO.
I think the
like they're
fact
in
that-
a really weird.
I think playing it on PC makes it feel a lot more like an MMO.
Yeah, this
That's
one
fair.
feels
Just by
like
nature.
very
but yeah, like
MMO-ish.
they won't admit that they're an
Yeah.
MMO.
This
and
one
like
looks like it took a lot from the Division as far as like the MMO aspect of it.
That's fair.
It feels very much more. It feels like
You
you're
can
very much
cheat all the
more-
stuff and finish it.
No, it's not as buggy as that game.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, even with bad games, you can still pick out one or two things where, like, they did really good here. They obviously dropped the ball there,
Yeah.
but we'll steal this and make ours and kind of adapt to it and make it better. But yeah, like, I'm loving this game, and the only other game that was going to compete for my multiplayer attention is now in the toilet. So, I mean, I've just full steam ahead on this as far as like scratching that multiplayer itch, and also co-op too, because I've got a fairly consistent group of 2 people maybe, where I can at least once a week be like, hey, Nightfall, and get that done. So that's cool. Also, I'll probably end up finishing this by the time this goes live, but Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus, started playing that. That is very fun to play. It's one of those, it's really satisfying, I guess if you're into violence and gore, to play through, just because, I mean, just the crazy things you can do while killing people. It's awesome. It's like the most any person could ask for, sort of thing in that category. Like, I feel like they bolstered, I guess, the characters in this game. There was obviously a narrative in the first game, the New Order, I guess I should say, since it's like technically the 10th Wolfenstein game. So in New Order, they obviously went a more narrative path than just run through a dungeon and blow up Robot Hitler of old games. But like, it wasn't like award-winning story sort of stuff. Like, it wasn't like Last of Us sort of thing or Witcher. It was just more like, hey, we have characters now. Remember these faces and names and personalities. Whereas this one, it's a lot more like, you feel like there's development. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this guy. He's awesome now. Or this guy's really funny. Or she's cool or whatever. And obviously, I think everyone, at least who pays attention to the E3s and stuff like that, saw trailers of like walking down like Manhattan and seeing like old Joe's Diner or something, walking in, and there's like Nazis drinking like soda floats and stuff like that. So like the alternative history sort of thing. So that's pretty cool to kind of get like caught up in that sort of world. Because obviously it's a little jarring to see that. But on top of that too, the music is way, way, way better. And I think for most of these games now, that I won't call them Bethesda because it's not just them, but that team that's making like Dooms and the Wolfensteins and stuff like that, they're all using the same Mick Gordon, the guy who's doing like the heavy metal thrashing guitar on all these games. I think since Doom came out,
They have so many games.
They do.
Just like, they had 2 Skyrims come out on Friday.
Yeah.
They have a Doom coming out next week. They had Wolfenstein the
But
week
the
before
same
that.
guy who did the most recent Doom soundtrack does this games, and you can tell, like, oh, okay, this is like a different kind of Doom soundtrack. So it's pretty cool to have that going too for it. So I should finish it soon. I think it's a little bit longer than the other Wolfensteins, but still not like a Skyrim or anything like that.
One thing we didn't talk about with Destiny 2 is how good the soundtrack is on it.
Yeah.
It's probably the first thing, and like I've noticed the visuals, and then the soundtrack started, and I was like, holy
I think
shit,
maybe
this is
30
awesome.
minutes in, I sat there and listened to the music. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because real emotional, I guess, at the beginning. And I go, as soon as I said that, I was like, I don't remember a single like musical piece from Destiny 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they brought someone in new. I'm not going to look it up, but I'm sure they did. But they just went balls out with the music.
It's very epic, and
I
it's
like the
very
music
like.
from Destiny 1.
I just don't remember. I can't remember if it's good or bad. But yeah, this
was
game,
like awesome. Like it
Yeah.
really like put me in the world. I felt like I was playing through a movie. It's really cool.
But yeah,
That it? Or you got more
that's
games?
it for me. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the only other thing I guess I'll mention, I finally got into 4K, so I'm finally in the
4K.
current, I guess. I won't say future because it's now, but that'll help me get into Horizon, which shouldn't be too far down.
Yeah,
the
you got
road.
a Pro.
Oh yeah,
You got the hook. You got all the
yeah. As
hookups,
soon as I
you got
was
the-
getting the TV, I was like, I might as well jump up. I didn't get the Xbox One X because there's nothing to play on it.
You don't want to play Cuphead in 4K?
but I still wanted a
Guess you can do
4K
that on
Blu-ray
PC.
player. So
Right,
um,
that's true.
But looking forward to that. That should be in the near future, especially with holidays coming up. Lots of free time. So as long as I'm not doing three
Control your
raids,
mic, man.
doing 3 raids a week,
You can tighten
in
it so it
Destiny.
doesn't do that.
won't tighten it. It's staying flaccid over here. I don't know what's going on?
But yeah, that's it for me for now.
It's the little thing. You just Do on the little thing.
This thing?
Yeah.
This thing's not doing
All right, you go ahead. I'll fix this for him.
Why not?
All right, we're gonna jump into the news because why? Why do you need it that tall? It's taller than you.
I keep having to like hunch over.
Oh my god, this is a disaster. Let's jump into the news. Let's start with a surprising piece of news. We have like no news this week, so whatever. Noctis is in Tekken 7.
Best news of the week.
The trailer for it was really cool.
It was amazing.
Noctis looks really out of place and weird in the game, and I don't like anything I've seen from the fighting.
He looks
but
busted.
yeah, he's got a lot of
he looks too good.
million range moves and stuff. I'm hoping this is all like just combos. You know what I mean?
I hope so because like
But-
as far as like gap closers and like he's teleporting around.
Yeah,
all over,
that's
like, it
not
makes,
something Tekken characters do.
it makes sense if you've played 15 because the combat looks like literally if you just took that game and shoved it into Tekken, like it looks perfect as far as like his moves. But then you're just like, what?
Hayashi can only punch. Like this is gonna be weird. So I'm hoping that, or like if you block those moves, there's like a significant counterattack time or something like that. Because yeah, it looked busted. But it's cool that he's in there. I think that's probably the rumored to be character.
Oh,
Probably Noctis. It was probably Noctis.
I don't know, but that trailer was amazing. It's probably one of the best trailers I've seen all year, including E3 stuff. So
I wouldn't agree, but I did like that it started out as Final Fantasy. But to be fair, I think if I watched that trailer and didn't know what it was, it would be awesome. I already knew he was in the game, and then I watched the trailer. So I knew what it was. If I was just watching that, I was like, oh, an expansion for Final Fantasy, because they get the quest and everything, and they're like, all right, let's go. And then they start fighting Tekken.
Well,
like,
and the problem with it, too, is that it aired during a Tekken tournament. So obviously it's like the lights go off and this airs, and you're just like, this must be for Tekken. You know, so like the surprise wasn't there, but it was awesome to see them talking amongst themselves and just being like, you go fight them.
Yeah, I'm down for Tekken. I think I'd buy the like season passy thing for Tekken. I don't even know if there is one, but I want the bowling mode and I haven't gotten it yet, and I want Noctis. So now I'm thinking if I look at it, like price wise, I'm probably ready to do it because I was playing Tekken. Okay, Todd, I was playing Tekken last weekend. What a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Justice. I'm like, what's this garbage? Get
I
this
haven't
out of
played
here.
Tekken yet.
So good.
And Geese Howard should be dropping soon. Too,
Yeah,
so we'll get a new character.
I don't care about him at all, but they're taking a really long time with that because that was announced a really long time ago, and he's still
that was like
not
E3
here.
or Evo.
And he's still not here. Next up in our three pieces of news, THQ Nordic has acquired Biomutant IP and its developer, Experiment 101. So Biomutant was that game that started a lot of buzz with like the Raccoon Man or whatever in the third person action game. And apparently they were purchased by Nordic, who I believe is the Darksiders group.
Sounds right.
So that fits kind of that gameplay style and that look. So, okay, we'll see where this goes.
Sure.
I'm fine with that. More money for the studio, obviously, so that they can, maybe they needed somebody to pick them up. Maybe they had high ambitions and they couldn't hit it. But cool. I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
As long as it's not freaking EA buying stuff, because I'm still upset about that.
Yeah.
They closing down Visceral, then buying Titanfall developer. I don't know what that's going on with there. And then let's just go into the EA news because there's a lot of it. Because I had to like keep rewriting this and that. It's like whatever. I'll just try and remember it. Battlefront 2. Basically, it launched on the early access thing, and people were pissed because it took, I believe it was 40 to 45 in-game hours to unlock one hero for the game. Or you could purchase with, your microtransactions, but even all of that stuff is random. And there are
You could
reports,
play the lottery, basically.
there were reports coming out that people were spending $80 trying to get Darth Vader and still didn't get Darth Vader. And like all this stuff, so just horrible press for EA.
Yeah.
And they came out and they not apologized, but on Reddit they were like, hey, this is our vision, blah, 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 blah. They became the most downvoted comment by a lot on Reddit. Then they came out and they're like, hey, we slashed all of the costs, 75% off everything, whatever. And everybody's like, oh, okay. And then they secretly lowered the amount that you make as well. So you used to get 20,000 credits for completing the campaign. Now you get 5,000.
Yeah.
So like they axed it, but then they reduced the other stuff, and it's like we hate you. Like I understand, and it's so weird because every time EA says something, Like, they're trying to sound like your buddy. They're like, hey, guys, we're part of this community, too, and we want you to be happy and blah, blah, blah. And they come out. But for some reason, I look at that and I'm like, you're such liars. Like, you just don't want people to trash talk you.
They do have a huge community team and like presence on social media and all that.
Sure.
But that's, I mean, it's because you buy every studio and also because
you own like 27 studios. Yeah. And then anyway, so the day before the game came out, they announced no microtransactions. We're not launching with them. You're not going to be able to get a leg up in this opening thing. We'll be adding them, but we're going to look at how we're going to do it, all that stuff. So currently, there is no way to purchase stuff in the game, and reports are you can unlock Darth Vader in about 4 hours of play. So that's good. But the damage seems to have been done to this game with any video, any comment, anything getting getting thousands and thousands of downvotes. And then the kind of big rumor news is that Disney is pissed at them. Yeah. Disney obviously owns Star Wars. They want Star Wars, especially near December, to be a positive conversation.
They just announced a new trilogy. Like, and they want...
Yeah, announce a new trilogy, announce a new TV show, all this stuff. And then EA comes out, we closed down Visceral and canceled their Star Wars game. Then they come out the next week. Battlefront 2 is a pay-to-win BS game, and now we're changing it constantly up until the day of release. And the rumor is that Disney, because Disney partnered with EA has exclusive rights to Star Wars games.
Yeah.
And the rumor is Disney said, you get positive reception on this. You fix this that you're doing, and you better get positive reception on your next game's coming out, or we're pulling the license from you and gonna give it to somebody else. That's all rumor, no basis, but it seems like I don't know why EA would be so aggressive about what they're doing right now. Like, pulling the microtransactions is huge, and the only thing that people can think of is Mickey Mouse knocked on their door and was like, hey guys, you better fix this or you're not making any more Star Wars games.
Well, the thing about that too, and you said it at least, but the key words are, we'll add this back at a later time once we've figured something out, sort of thing. So there's that looming, okay, if I go get the game next week because now they fixed it, sort of thing, and they're my buddies, when are they going to decide to start putting pay to win back in?
I imagine it's probably with the next map, I assume Last Jedi stuff that comes out with it.
But the sad part is, if you take all that, which it's huge, and any reviewer, any person talking about the game has more than a right to mention it and knock points off of it because of the system that they put in the game, at least originally. Aside from that, you don't really hear many complaints. Plays well, awesome characters.
I heard the story isn't great.
But yeah, at least it has a story.
That's unfortunate though, because that's what I would want to play it for, is the story. And I heard the story's not great.
But just decent. I feel like it just would have got upper 80s, something like that, low 90s, maybe.
I mean, in our video game climate where everything's a 7 or an 8, and the only things that get 6s or belows are disasters.
Completely broken.
For sure. Definitely an 8 at least.
Great game, but it didn't start. 6.5.
That the Prey review is always one that he's like, oh, the game's crashing like crazy and blah 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 blah. 4 out of 10. And there's guys, they patched it. 9 out of 10. I'm like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, I almost would like to see EA lose the license, to be dead honest. I wish that more different studios could make Star Wars games.
I don't like any sorts of monopolies on a franchise. And this dates back to Madden, when we had ESPN football games and Madden football games before they acquired NFL rights. It's nice when you get different takes on stuff.
Yeah, and it forces everybody to
NBA 2K and just NBA
sure,
games.
Stuff like that. You can get an arcadey version of a game. So if you want a pod racing or dogfighting Star Wars game, I'm sure there's this group of people who can make that sort of thing. Whereas you want a serious, narrative driven choice, whatever sort of game. There's this group of people that can make it. And if you just want lightsaber fights, there's this people that can make it. I don't know. I like bouncing around, and I don't.
I agree.
and I don't like everything being stamped with EA Frostbite on it.
Yeah, because that means that there's going to be microtransactions, basically, which is kind of unfortunate. What was the studio that said all their games in the future are going to have microtransactions? It wasn't Activision. It wasn't EA. What's the other one? Some studio came out. 2K. It was 2K with Red Dead Redemption, BioShock, Borderlands. They came out and they said all of their future games will have microtransactions.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's fine if they're aesthetic. Just purely aesthetic. I mean, if you're going to do it, sure.
If you're going to do it, aesthetically.
And
it works into Borderlands, at least.
And at least they advertise it. Like,
I
that was kind of my problem with Battlefront, is like, it wasn't advertised as a money milking.
They came out and they were like, "Hey, we got rid of the season pass.
Yeah.
Woo! We have a story. Woo!" And they were like, "And there's microtransactions that make the game pay to win." They didn't say that part.
Progress-based microtransactions is like, what?
Yeah.
So pay to win? Yeah.
I liked my favorite comment that I saw out of all of this was the Xbox 360, Xbox One comment, and I think I sent it to you because it was so funny. The guy said, similar to Don Metric when they asked, so what about people who can't get online back when the Xbox One was still the online only thing and all that stuff? And they're like, well, we have a system for them to play. It's the Xbox 360. And Jeff Keighley was like, so just buy a 360? That's what you're telling them? And he's like, if you don't have online, yeah. And I liked the comment, hey, what if I don't like microtransactions? And somebody's like, we have a game for you. It's called Star Wars Battlefront 1.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, let's move into some questions. I just want to go over one comment really quick. Zach Yonder commented on the video and said, my friends and I are doing a top 10 game of the year list this year because there are just too many good games. I agree, and I am doing a top 10 list this year as well. I always do top 5s. I'm doing a top 10 because it's too crazy this year. And then they added, Persona 5 will most likely be my game of the year, but Mario and Zelda will both be on that list. In the top 10 list, for sure. I agree. Nick doesn't
I'm probably
going
to do my seeded little brackets again. That was really fun.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but I kind of enjoy it, to be honest. Until you made Uncharted 4 lose to the number 10 seed, and I was like, what are you doing?
I thought it was number 10 seed. I can't remember.
What did Uncharted 4 lose?
No,
to?
you gave Uncharted 4 a bye because they had the highest Metacritic
Oh,
score.
right, yeah. I remember how
games are
that.
getting buys. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he built a whole
based
system.
on, hey, well, that means Mario and Zelda are going to get
That's
some
true. Mario and Zelda are the two
It will
highest
make it
rated
into the
games.
second round.
They're both 97s.
This is a tough year if you're being...
Yeah, it's crazy.
I haven't played any of these
Something
games.
that I just want to point out, I don't want to give away too much on my list, but like this year, of like my favorite series and everything of all time, this year I got a Gravity Rush, I got a Kingdom Hearts, I got a Crash Bandicoot, I got a new Mario 64, I got a Persona. Like there's just insane, sequels and all
of
these
that
things.
was April and before, except for Mario.
Yeah, that's true. Like added to these series that I love all in 1 year, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Man, I'm like the complete opposite. I couldn't find anything to play, so I started playing RuneScape again.
Damn.
This year's been
Slim
so
pickings.
good.
And we got a new Resident
I don't
Evil.
have a Switch though. So
Resident Evil. That's
It's like
another-
5 games that I can't play that I want to play.
I mean, I can make a whole list of games that I enjoyed, but I'll
Yeah.
do that at the end of the year, I guess. Moving on to the 16 games for the N64 Classic. Let's do it right now. What we think will actually be on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just gonna throw down my prediction. I think it is going to be $80 as well.
Okay.
As the,
I could see that.
I don't think
It's
it
not
could
going
be
to be $64?
Oh, that'd be amazing, actually. I don't think it could be as more expensive than 80. I really don't. I could see it coming with one controller,
Ooh.
but I
Ooh,
feel
a lot
like
of
you
these
have
games
to
are
make it come
multiplayer
with two,
games.
Yeah.
at least.
A lot
And
of
then
these
I think
games
you
are-
sell a 2-pack of the other controllers. That I think that's how you do it. And I think you do 16 games instead of the 21 that the Super Nintendo Classic has.
Well, these
Or if
games
you
have a
had
little bit more
64
meat
games.
on them, too,
Oh, yeah.
than some of the other
For sure.
things
That's
that
true.
they've
So
launched.
let's go ahead and make our 16 games we think will be on the N64 Classic or whatever those things are. I never know if they're called the Classic or Mini Classic.
Yeah.
They've been called everything. But here we go. So
I'll
I
put
think
a disclaimer on mine, and I know if you get into like the rares and the stuff like that,
Yeah,
like,
we'll
it
try
would
and
need
talk
some
it
hand.
out.
It would need some hand holding from like, hey, Microsoft, help us.
We'll try and talk it out, but I want a list that we can at least kind of
Yeah.
champion and say that we did it similar to how we did the other one. So first, I think let's get all the easy stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Mario 64 on
Super Mario.
on the Todd, going to be on there. Both Zeldas, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask
Yeah.
are going to be on there.
Don't even bother putting it out. And this is coming from someone who thinks they're largely overrated, but don't even bother releasing the system if you can't, put, those two on there.
Mario Kart 64.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also absolutely on there. I feel like it starts to get a little weird. So what about the sports games? We have Mario Golf.
If it's got Mario in it, I put it on there as far as sports games go.
What ones? Mario Golf, Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see both those.
Golf, tennis. Is that it?
I think so. There might be one more that I'm not thinking of, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
so I
Possibly Mario Party 2.
so that's the next problem. Mario Party, 1, 2, or 3. 2 is the best one.
Yeah.
I think hands down.
3. I think they put 3 on there.
You think they put
I
3?
can see that.
That's funny. I think they put 1, just because
Just because it's original.
they put Donkey Kong 1
Sure,
on there and
that's
not
true.
Donkey Kong 2.
That's true.
Donkey Kong 2 is way better.
Yeah, so I actually think, to the disappointment of many people, they're going to put Mario Party 1 on there. That's my personal
You
vote.
think Bomberman 64?
I do, but let's pause on this Mario Party
Okay.
thing. So, are we thinking? I want to make sure we at least semi-agree. I don't want to like just steal it and make the list. Do we agree that there's only going to be one Mario Party?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do we think it's going to be 1, 2, or 3? I think it's going to be 1.
I mean, based on their track record, I think it's gonna be 1.
Okay,
But I'd like to see like 2 or 3.
that's enough people for me to vote.
Yeah. Is that how majorities work?
I would like Mario Party 2 because it's significantly better. But Bomberman 64, I agree.
Yep.
Will be on there.
Add it on mine.
There's also Bomberman Hero, and there's a Bomberman 64 2.
Yeah.
But Bomberman 64 2 is kind of bad. And I actually think Bomberman Hero is pretty good, but it's so off-brand
Yeah.
for the Bomberman. I don't.
I
think
never
it would
played
be
it. Star Fox.
there. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
man, we already got 9 of them. Do we think Kirby and Yoshi's Story are going to be on there?
I didn't
don't
think either.
so.
Really?
Mhm.
That's interesting. I think they will. At least
Kirby maybe.
Kirby.
I don't think Yoshi's Story is gonna make
I think
it.
at least Kirby will be on there, but that's interesting. So then we can start getting into some of the rare stuff. What about Donkey Kong? The N64 Donkey Kong.
I did not put Donkey Kong on mine.
You don't think Donkey Kong's going to make it either?
No, I don't think so.
I see. I strongly think that one will be on there. What about Diddy Kong Racing then?
No, I think they're going to put Mario Kart
Yeah.
on there.
And not have the Diddy
Yeah.
Kong Racing?
Because I think I don't know how many genres they want to hit, but I don't know if they want to overload it with.
Because they don't have many games to they probably only have 16.
A big one I think is gonna be on there is GoldenEye.
See, this is talking about what ones we think can actually be on there. I don't think GoldenEye will be on there because that game's rights are just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because
Really?
somebody owns James Bond, and
Might
then
be the
and then
biggest like
Microsoft
N64 game.
owns Rare. It's a Microsoft game technically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Nintendo doesn't really. And Nintendo owns like the levels or something, like the level names.
That's weird.
Something really
Um,
weird.
Yeah.
So I
so-
don't think GoldenEye will be on there or Perfect Dark, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a
I
bummer.
think Perfect Dark has a better chance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because of the rights, and I don't think
I would love if Perfect
I
Dark
don't
was on there.
think
That'd be cool.
Microsoft is necessarily fighting like this isn't dipping into their market. I don't think
That's
the people
true.
that
Like
are going
you-
to buy an Xbox. I
Like
don't
Banjo
think,
Kazooie, you
Yeah.
think they might put
Yeah.
Banjo on it?
I've got Banjo and Perfect Dark on mine.
Yeah, Banjo Kazooie.
Okay, I'll add Banjo, and I'll put Perfect Dark off to the side here as a if we need it type
Okay.
thing because I'm not against Perfect.
What about Pokemon Stadium?
Oh yeah, there's Pokemon games. So I think what do we have? Snap, Hey You, Pikachu,
Yeah.
Stadium, and Stadium 2.
I think Snap has the best chance.
I agree.
Because
can
people
see
love
that.
it the most, and B, a main draw of the stadium games was the cartridge that you can put in the back of your controller that you would put your red or blue in.
Right.
That's true.
I was going to argue with you,
I
but that's
don't
true.
think they're going to do that again because then there would be a flood of people on eBay buying up the old red and blue cartridges. But that was like a main point of it. I would love it if they did, though, because aside from just fighting those guys out and using your own people too, the mini games in that was like a Mario Party attached to Pokemon Stadium, and it was really fun.
That's true.
That's a good point.
But I think that gameplay feature not being there kind of hurts it.
There's also Puzzle League, Pokemon Puzzle League, which was an N64 game. Do we think that goes on as the puzzle game?
I thought Snap was going to be the only
Pokemon situation.
game.
I think Puzzle League could be on there. I'm going to put it here just as a discussion later. What about, this is one that I see. What about the, what's it called, Pilot Wings?
I didn't think about that one.
64?
I could see it, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that. They always have games that nobody, like, people like that game.
I could see, like, Wave Race 64.
I could also see Wave Race 64.
That's a different kind of racer, too, so it wouldn't compete against Mario Kart.
All right, let's put Wave Race then, for sure. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything like super obvious. Like I think Kirby and Yoshi's Story at least. Okay, how about the Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
How about that one?
Yeah.
You don't think Paper Mario will be on there?
Oh yeah. You said that one downstairs when I was bringing it up,
I've got
said
Paper
the same
Mario
exact thing.
online.
Oh yeah. Okay, Paper Mario it is. So we need two more.
Doom 64? Or is that like too graphic?
Yeah, I think
Same problem with like Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, I agree. I think they want to sell this to adults and kids, and I don't think they want to put
what would be sweet?
super M-rated things.
I forgot about this. Killer Instinct.
Same thing. I don't know if they'll put a
too
fighting
graphic,
game on there.
Yeah. Also, that's
true.
That is rare.
That's
Microsoft 1000.
I think,
and that's one that they're actually using.
Yeah, that's true.
Harvest Moon 64 might show up.
That'd be interesting
because it's kind of its own sort of game. It doesn't really match a lot of these.
That could be neat.
It might be sort of a curveball, like a
Okay.
number 16.
I didn't even think about that one, but that would be neat. What about the Spider-Man game?
I like the old Spider-Man games. But,
yeah, I think that's a problem, especially with Sony having
so.
Spider-Man right now. I don't know how the rights for that work. I think that'd be weird.
It's just
I don't think we'll see any license.
It's a huge
games. I want the pod
game.
racing Star Wars game, but I don't think we'll see that either.
I don't think. There's actually a bunch of cool and 64.
Another kind of
I want
oddball.
Conquer too, but we won't get that for multiple reasons.
Yeah. Another kind of oddball game, 1080 snowboarding. I think that was a launch game.
Sweet.
But I think everyone can probably count on one hand how many snowboarding games that they've played, and that's definitely
that game's.
I'm
awesome.
fine with making that the last one.
Yeah,
on the
I'm
list.
cool with that.
Yeah.
Other one I was gonna say was Rayman. Did you guys ever say that?
No, Rayman
or Rayman 2.
Yeah,
those games are sweet.
They are. They're Ubisoft.
I think that was on my Wii U list. Rayman.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Legends is sweet.
But I'm cool with
I do like me some Rayman.
Yeah, I like 1080. So this is what we have right now. Let me know if we want to change anything or fight for anything. So Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Zelda Majora's Mask, Mario Kart 64, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, Bomberman 64, Star Fox, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Wave Race 64, Super Smash Bros., Paper Mario, Harvest Moon 64, and 1080 Snowboarding. So the only ones that off the top I can think could fit and / replace is Pokemon Puzzle League, Perfect Dark. I really want Perfect Dark on there. Possibly sweet. Pokemon Stadium, and then I think Kirby and Yoshi. I think those are the ones that could swap for things.
Yeah. Some of them for
is
licenses.
Perfect Dark rated M? I feel like it is.
M was so weird back then as far as like what's mature and what's not. So
yeah, well, I know Nintendo made people shut the blood off. Like Mortal Kombat doesn't have blood.
It has an option on there to turn it up, I think.
Yeah, it's like a code.
Mischief Makers. That's a sweet one for N64.
I literally don't know what that is, but I remembered Glover when you said it.
Yeah.
I think Glover has a decent chance of being on there, to be dead honest. I don't want it on there, but I actually think it has a decent chance.
Pilot Wings 64.
We did mention that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned it. And I like Pilot Wings.
Did you guys say
honestly,
Ogre Battle 64?
No, I don't know what that is either.
All right.
Rated M? Rated R is the first. Yeah, it's rated M. I think that really hurts Perfect Dark's chance. I don't think they
What
want
was
to
GoldenEye?
have... GoldenEye's probably M.
Because of the blood on the screen when you die?
Yeah. It has to be. But if Perfect
like
Dark is...
mature games then are like E for everyone. Games
yeah, that's
now.
like the Night Trap thing. It was rated teen
Yeah.
when it came out, and that like started the rated M, ESERB, all this stuff. GoldenEye's rated teen. How about
that helps its case.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, license-wise, it's got to jump through so many hoops to get
That's
on
a lot
there.
of N64 games, big ones.
Yeah, the thing with the N64 is it feels like there's like 25 N64 games, and like everybody had these 25 games,
Yeah.
and then there's just a bunch of stuff.
I feel like they'll
knows
definitely try to
exists.
keep it like Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. So like
you know,
the
you gotta get
only
Mario.
some other ones I want to throw at you that I know, Castlevania was on the
Could
N64.
be.
It wasn't great, but Castlevania's been on both collections.
Fair.
Oh, I actually hold on. I want to start making this case. Castlevania's been on both collections. I think we might get Castlevania, and Mega Man's been on both collections, and Mega Man 64, which fits the whole just
that could be
Mega Man
cool.
64. Also, I think could very well
I could definitely see him putting any of the
be
just
on there.
Mario 64, Mega Man 64, Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
64.
I think it would be cool if they all did only games like that. They can't.
That would be.
But
It would be neat.
Yeah.
Because I actually think it's Super Mario Kart 64. Like,
Yeah.
that's the full title.
Yeah.
I think if we were to take away any games, obviously the first
Banjo.
ones would be Banjo
Yeah.
and Perfect Dark was over here.
I want to swap Banjo for
I could
Mega
see
Man.
1080 snowboarding.
Okay.
Castlevania is owned by the same person, Konami, who also owns Bomberman. So at least they'll still have representation.
Right.
But I feel like Mega Man's been on all of them so far.
I feel like
so
Bomberman's like
Mega
definitely
Man,
gonna be
yeah.
on there.
And the Castlevania game is a Castlevania game, but it was also horrible.
Yeah. And
So
I feel like they want to put a
it's
lot of
tough.
multiplayer games on the 64. 'Cause
That's
like,
true, too.
That's
That's
like what
true.
the
And
system's
Castlevania's
most
single player.
memorable for.
That's
Is
true.
how like multiplayer intensive it was.
Yeah, the only thing on here that I'm iffy on is Harvest Moon, but I want them to have Harvest Moon.
I think like the system needs to have a game like that. Basically, I mean,
Something like a
obviously,
time sink.
this is kind of like the
There's no like huge RPGs, you know.
sure, yeah,
Like the Super Nintendo has Final Fantasy and Earthbound and all this stuff.
I mean, you have the Zelda
Chrono
games.
Trigger.
yeah. This is more the multiplayer system. This is kind
Yeah,
of
but I mean, you don't
put.
put dozens and dozens of hours into
Sure, that's
Zelda unless you're replaying it. But then like the original one had Final Fantasy, like these are long games.
Yeah.
And the N64 doesn't have that many things like that. Because everybody that wanted to do that stuff did it on the PlayStation because it was way
This is
easier.
definitely like the party like system.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I like this list, and I want to say that if they're going to be cute and put another game on the list, like a free bonus game, like they did with Star Fox 2 on the Super Nintendo, I think they'll put Animal Crossing because there was
Oh, that could be cool.
there is a N64 Animal Crossing game that never came out here.
That'd be neat.
And so I think if they're going to be cute, that's the game that they put on it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, finished list. Let's just go over it. Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Zelda Majora's Mask, Super Mario 64, and Mario Kart 64. I think I may have screwed that up, but anyway. Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party 1, Bomberman 64, Star Fox, Mega Man 64, Pokemon Snap, Wave Race 64, Super Smash Bros., Paper Mario, Harvest Moon 64, and 1080 Snowboarding. I like
It's like 10 Mario games.
I think that's what we're going to get.
I could see it. It's just,
Especially if they're
good.
doing
There's
the
so
four
many-
controller thing, like
so many
Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, like that. You
Yeah.
need them. And would I purchase this? Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Like I
I'm, like,
couldn't
pretty
believe
excited
how
about
good
this.
the Super Nintendo one was.
Yeah.
So this is our list. If and when it comes out, we can do the comparison and see how wrong or right we were. We were pretty
Yeah.
close with the Super Nintendo one. We missed Star Fox, which I think was because I didn't think you could emulate it because there's always problems
Oh,
emulating Star
sure.
Fox because it has
Right.
that chip in it. And we missed something else that was really obvious too. But anyway, let's move into the releases and then get out of here. You guys ready for the super long releases segment?
I think you mean super short.
Here we go. We have Battle Chef Brigade, Switch PC, November 20th. Teeny
You
Metal.
don't see that very often. Switch and PC only.
That's true. Teeny Metal, PS4, Switch, and PC, November 21st.
What the heck? That's it?
And that's it.
That's it, man.
Alrighty.
All the Skyrims and Pokemons, and last week was actually a really good release week. left nothing for
We're
this
pretty
week,
much
so.
done with the game releases.
Yeah, and people like to get those games out a little bit before Black Friday, get
Yeah.
word of mouth going on the games, get reviews out for the games. So when Black Friday comes and people are purchasing their things,
And you get bundles and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Sort of
you-
like
right.
the Skyrim PSVR bundle. Isn't there one now?
oh yes, so there's a Skyrim PSVR bundle. They announced a Doom PSVR bundle,
Ooh.
and the Skyrim bundle is Amazon's #1 bestseller right now, like top selling
That's
Black
insane.
Friday item,
That's
which is
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
really
I think
cool.
they lowered the I mean, obviously for sales and stuff like that, but I think the price took a huge dip too.
I forget how much. I think it's like $300 or $350, and you get like the headset, both Move controllers, the camera, and
Yeah.
the game.
That's
which
pretty
is
sweet.
Really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I know in the UK at least, it is the Amazon Black Friday #1 bestseller. Overall, is the
Yeah.
That's crazy.
headset. So that's awesome. It's a lot of hope. I'm so happy they did Skyrim. Even though it's not 1,000% my style game, it feels like a full, complete VR experience similar to Resident Evil 7, and
Well,
we need more of those.
That
and I'm
it
glad we're
needs
getting them.
AAA games, whether or not it looks up to par as far as 2017
Yeah, and
visuals go.
I
who
hate
cares?
I hate saying it because it's a little hypocritical of stuff that I've said, but like I want old franchises to just have good VR
Yeah,
entries because Farpoint, people love Farpoint. It's one of the most popular VR games, but like that name isn't great and it's hard to sell like that. But if there was Infamous VR, that's super simple. Skyrim VR, done. You know what I mean? Like I think that they need to start looking into their past, like PS3
Recent
area,
past, yeah.
and start VRing some of those games because graphically they're not so intensive.
Yeah.
And I think that you could find a cool game that you could VR like that.
well, it's a lot easier too when you have AAA title games. I mean, that's what they're there for. At least the games that are like 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah, and we know
at
there's
this
some
point.
companies doing them.
Yeah.
Respawn's working on one. The Dark Souls From Software is working on one. So they're being worked on, and we'll
Because
see.
before this, I
where it
mean,
goes.
there was, I don't know, Farpoint, sort of like you mentioned, but it felt like the kind of breakout game was Resident Evil 7. As far
For
as
sure,
just, like,
I
if you
think
have-
like at launch, Batman and Until Dawn and Riggs,
Yeah.
like they were stirring up conversation,
yeah.
but nobody was like, "Oh my God, buy this right now!" Blah blah blah. Then when Resident Evil came out, people are like, "You really need to play Resident Evil in VR." And I really think Skyrim's the same way. Unfortunately, I think it's the same way with the controller and not with the motion controls. And I hope that the motion controls doesn't hurt people too much on their sour their experience.
Yeah.
Just play with the controller; it's so much better. Everything works totally fine with the controller, but. Yeah, these big experiences are huge, and it seems like we're getting Fallout next, so that's cool too. So we got
Doesn't the
Doom, Skyrim, and
Yeah,
Fallout.
I think PC already, like Oculus already has it. or
I think
something
it gets
like
it
that.
next
Okay.
week. They're all coming out in the span of like 3 weeks, but it's each week gets a different game. And Doom is on the 6th of December,
Yeah.
and Fallout is somewhere around there.
BFR.
Yeah, so excited for all of that. That's it for this episode of the Press X Podcast. Thank you for being here, Nick.
Yep.
Thank you for being here, Todd.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for watching. We'll speak with you next time.